Started. All right, so hi everyone, my name is Sarah. I'm from the marketing team here at Satin. Welcome to the Fondant Flower Topper class. Here's a look at what we'll be making. This is a Tulip Topper. We've got Lavender and Daffodils. All right, so we can bring the camera overhead and I'll show you guys what we're going to be working with today. We have white fondant, red fondant, purple, blue, green, yellow, and orange. And you can find all these at your local Michael's stores. We have some water. This is going to help us adhere the fondant to each other. We also have a round circle cutter. This one is about a 2-inch circle cutter. I have a scalloped edge. This is not necessary. I just thought it gave it a pretty effect. We have blossom cutters, which is this rounded flower cutter, and this is about 1 inch. And then we have 2 daisy cutters. One's 1/2 an inch, and then one's 3/4 of an inch. We have a rolling pin. This is a foam pad. A ball tool, one that's a smaller ball tool, so it has a really tiny end. A food safe paintbrush. I have an X-Acto knife. You can use any sharp small knife. And then I also have a sturdier, larger small knife to help me cut the pieces of fondant. And then I also have cornstarch. This is going to help the fondant from sticking to your surface. And then also I have Ziploc bags because as I'm working with the fondant, we don't want the fondant to dry out. So it's important to put it in an enclosed area to let so the air doesn't hit it. Okay, so we also have a link attached for the tutorial. So this is going to help you with the step-by-steps. If you don't see it now, you'll be able to reference it later. It's also on satinice.com. So the first part are the fondant discs with the stems. So the disc is the light blue area, and then the stems and the little grass. So to begin, we're going to need the white fondant and the blue fondant. Put these other to the side. So when you initially open your fondant, it is soft, but it's going to be a little firm. And it's important to knead it. I'm going to be referencing the fondant in parts for measurement, so because we're going to mix some colors together. And some people refer to parts as like the ratio for a measurement of a recipe for a color mix. You can also reference parts as a measurement such as grams or pounds, depending on what you're making. Today, we're not using a food scale, so I'm going to reference them as just parts. So I have my blue fondant, and I'm working with the 4.4 ounces because it's easier for me to show you guys the ratios for the parts. So I have the white and the blue. We are going to need 3 parts white and 1 part blue fondant. So what I'm going to do is cut these into equal parts. So I'm going to probably cut them into like 5 or 6 parts. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, we're going to get 6 parts. They're not super even, but that's okay. So we're going to need 3 parts white and 1 part blue fondant for the discs. So we're going to take 3 parts of the white fondant and 1 part of the blue fondant. So all these other pieces, it's important that you put this in a Ziploc bag or a airtight container so that these pieces don't dry out. So we're going to take these pieces and combine them together, and we're just going to knead them. So you just press them in between your hands. And then if you notice that your fondant is getting sticky, if you have warm hands, this is when your cornstarch is going to come into play. You can put some on your surface, rub it around, this way it gets on your hands, and continue to knead the fondant. It's important that you don't use too much cornstarch because this can dry the fondant out, just enough to help the stickiness. So as you can see, the fondant is definitely getting lighter in color. I'm just kneading it and mixing it together. This is going to help make the fondant more pliable. It's very important to knead your fondant before use so that it's flexible enough to mold and shape and roll out cleanly. Okay, so mine is just about mixed thoroughly. So I'm going to roll it into a ball. And I'm going to flatten it out a little bit. So I already have some cornstarch down on my surface. And now we're going to roll it out. I'm going to sprinkle a little bit on top as well, so it doesn't stick to my rolling pin. So you're just going to put light pressure and roll forward and back. And then I like to twist the fondant so that we get an even circle and an even thickness all the way around. We're going to be rolling this out about 1/8 of an inch thick. And we're going to use the circle cutter that we have that's about 2 inches to cut our fondant discs. All right, so that's about as thick as I want this. So you'll take the cutter, press down. I like to give it a little twist so that it releases easily. And this is what your disc will look like. You can just place this to the side. If you were doing this design on cookies, you can use a bigger circle cutter that's the same size as your cookie, and then you'll want to adhere this straight away to your cookie with the food safe paintbrush and some water. But since we're making cupcake toppers, we kind of want these to dry firm, so I'm just placing them to the side. So for our designs today, we're doing 3 different flowers: the tulip, the lavender, and the daffodils. So I'm cutting out 3 light blue fondant discs, and I'm going to knead this light blue fondant back up into a ball, and I'm going to put it away in a Ziploc bag so it stays soft and doesn't dry out.
Yes. You need a pasta maker to roll out.
Yes, so someone asked if you can use a pasta roller to roll out the fondant. Many people do because not everyone has a professional sheeter. So you can definitely use a pasta roller, but you're not going to be able to roll out a ton with a pasta roller. Depends on what size you have. It's just important that you use cornstarch so that it doesn't stick to the pasta sheeter. Okay, so now we have our 3 discs. Just set these to the side and they will start to firm up and dry a little, which is good. We want that. Next, make sure your work surface is clean as you work so that other colors don't stick to each other. I also have a wet towel next to me because you'll see some of the color can rub off onto your hands. So you could just rub that off with a wet paper towel and then always dry your hands off afterwards because that will make your fondant sticky if your hands are wet. Okay, so the next part is the stems and the grass for the flowers. So next we're going to use our green fondant. And I'm going to probably use, so last time I referenced the parts and I cut off about portions of this size for the other color. So I'm going to use about one of these size parts for the green. Because these toppers are small, we really don't need a ton of fondant. So I have my 4.4 ounce green fondant, and I'm just going to cut off a small portion. First, I want to make sure that my knife is clean from the blue fondant. So I'm going to wipe the residue off and also make sure it's dry.
How long will the fondant keep in the plastic bags?
The fondant should keep in the plastic bags for a good amount of time. So think about if you have, normally fondant also comes in these pails. And these pails are an airtight container and they have a bag of fondant inside. So this is how you would normally store your leftover fondant. So with 4 ounces, you can do the same thing. You can wrap it in a Ziploc bag and place it back into a Tupperware or some type of enclosed container, and it should keep for quite a while. And if you notice it's getting hard, then you're just going to want to definitely use a new piece of fondant because it's not easy to use when fondant gets hard and crusty. So here's my 4.4 ounces of green fondant, and we're going to cut off a small portion of this. Again, we're going to wrap this piece up as well. So you're going to have a lot of leftover fondant to play with. So we're going to knead this to get it nice and soft and pliable. So you can roll this, knead this, and roll it into a ball. And we might not use, we're going to try to use all of this for all 3 stems and leaves or grass. So what we're going to do first is form the stems. So we're going to take 3 balls of the green fondant that are about the size of a pea. You don't want them big because look how small our discs are. So we're aiming to have stems like this size. So roll out 3 small balls of green fondant that are the size of a pea. And if they end up being too big, that's okay. You can cut off the excess as we roll these out into logs. So as you're not working with this extra piece of green fondant, be sure to put it in your Ziploc bag so it doesn't dry out. I'm going to put some cornstarch on my hands because mine are starting to get a little sticky. So we will take each of these small green balls and we're going to form skinny logs out of them. And you can do this just by taking your pointer finger and having light pressure and just rolling along the ball to form a log. So you can use your disc to measure how long you think your stem needs to be. You want it to go about like 3/4 to maybe halfway up your disc. So this one's a little too long. So I'm gonna just roll it out a little bit more to get it a bit skinnier. And then I'm going to use my knife to cut off the length. So I'm going to probably cut it off here. And then you'll want to match this size with your others. So just use light pressure with your pointer finger to roll out skinny logs that are equal in size. Again, if you realize you use too much for your stem, it's okay. You can cut off whatever excess you have. So this one is definitely longer than the others. So I'm going to cut off whatever excess I have. So next we are going to adhere these to our light blue discs. So you'll need your water and your food safe paintbrush. You want to use a small amount of water. Too much water will cause the fondant to get sticky and messy. So just use a tiny bit. You can rub the excess off on the rim of the cup or whatever you have your water in. And then we're going to be placing these in the middle. I'm going to brush a small stroke of water in the center and then kind of form what I want my stems to look like. So you place the green fondant on top of the light blue disc. I'm going to have all three of these stems touching, but two on the side kind of flaring out a little bit. So there we go. Has our stems attached to our disc, and we are going to repeat this 2 more times. So this could be used for our tulips. We need to make one more similar for our daffodils. And then when we get to our lavender, we are going to make skinnier stems. So next, let's repeat this process so we have them for our daffodils. So I'm going to place that to the side and I'm going to take my green fondant out again. If you want, you can do both stems right now. You can do the stems for your lavender and your daffodils. So I'm going to take out 6 pea-size green balls of fondant. I'm going to put the rest of my fondant in the Ziploc bag so it doesn't dry up. Okay, so let's do the daffodil one. So let's use your pointer finger with light pressure, rolling back and forth to form skinny, small logs. You can use your disc for size reference. We want it to go up about halfway up the disc, maybe 3/4 of the way. Okay, so this one's good. So now that you have your size, you can use this as reference for your other ones. Okay, I'm just rolling out my 3rd stem for my daffodils. Again, we are going to take a small amount of water and brush 3 strokes of water onto the blue disc. Placing one stem in the middle. And then the other 2 stems on the side kind of flaring out a little bit. Okay, so at this point we have 2 discs done with stems. This is going to be for our tulips and our daffodils, which are these. The next stems we are going to work on are for the lavender, and these ones we want to be skinnier and longer. So we might not use all of this green fondant here. We're going to roll out skinnier logs. You want to be careful to use light pressure, because if you use too much pressure, you're going to flatten the fondant out and it won't want to roll back and forth to form a skinny log. So we will use our disc for reference. These ones we want to go up almost touching the top. So a little more than 3/4 of the way, because this is what we're going to be attaching our lavender petals to. So I'm going to mark this about right here. Cut that off, and then I will use this stem as reference for my other 2.
Someone is asking if you have a lot of cupcakes to make, can you make them all at one time?
If you have, so for these toppers, if you have a lot of cupcakes to make, I recommend making them in advance. That's the good thing about fondant toppers, is you can really prep a lot in advance and store these in, first you want to let them dry in air, and then you can store them in a container so they stay fresh. But if you have a large order, or if you have a party that you want to make these for, or a bridal shower or something, I would definitely recommend starting them in advance because this might be a lot to do in one day. And you want your toppers to dry a little bit so that they set hard as a disc, because this is going to go on top of a buttercream cupcake. Again, if you were making cookies with this, you'll want to attach the disc directly to the cookie right away. But since we are doing these as cupcake toppers, we want the disc to dry a little firm so that we can easily pick it up and place it on, and so that it doesn't get soft and kind of form on top of the frosting. Okay, so I have 3 longer stems for my lavender disc. And again, we are going to brush 3 light strokes of water on the blue disc. Attach 1 in the middle, and then attach the other 2 on the side, slightly flared out.
You freeze them to use them after a while, maybe more than a month.
So you can actually make these a month in advance and keep them in an airtight container. There's no need to freeze fondant. That's the beauty of making toppers in advance. Saves you a lot of time. Okay, so we have 3 of our discs done with our stems, and the next thing we're going to do is our grass. So I have 1 with skinnier stems and then 2 with a little fatter stems. These are going to be for our tulips and our daffodils, and that's going to be for our lavender. So we will put these to the side while we work on our grass. So for the grass, we're going to kind of repeat the same type of process as we did for the stems, but we're going to be using really tiny pieces of fondant. I'm talking like this small. I don't know if you can see a good size reference. And they can vary in size. And then I'm going to use more cornstarch because my hands are starting to get a little sticky. So I'm just going to form a bunch of small sized green balls. They're almost like specks. They can differ in size. And again, if you feel like you made them too big, you can roll these extra long and just cut off portions.
Do the pieces ever fall off?
Do the pieces ever fall off? So pieces can fall off if you don't use enough water or edible glue as an adhesive. And if they do, they can be put back together with water or edible glue. Okay, so I'll show you guys how we're going to make this into grass. I'm going to take a little bit more cornstarch, my finger. So you're going to take one of these small green dots and lightly roll it to form skinny little blades of grass, just like this. So we're going to repeat this process until we have a pretty good amount. Maybe we're probably going to use about 8 or 10 per disc. And they can vary in size. And if some end up being too long, we can cut them as we go. Okay, so I'm going to show you how we are going to attach these. So this is actually I'm going to start with the daffodil and the tulips. Back to the lavender ones, our grass for the lavender are going to be longer, just like our stems were longer. So just keep note of that too. As you're making these pieces of grass, make some that are extra long and then some that are shorter. So to attach the blades of grass, we're going to brush a light amount of water at the base of the blue disc, a little bit on top of the stem, at the bottom of the stems, and then a little bit to the right. This is, the grass is going to pretty much cover the entire bottom edge of the disc. Another way of rolling these out easily is putting them on the palm of your hand and using that as your base to roll out the grass. Okay, so I'm going to begin attaching these pieces of grass to my disc. Some on the left side of the stems. And make sure you press them down so that they stick to the water. You can give the grass some movement too if you want some to stick out toward you. So I used water so that these blades of grass can stick nicely to the fondant. It's important that you don't use too much water because these are very fine pieces of fondant and the water can make these pieces a little too soft and slimy and make them hard to work with. So I'm just attaching the grass to the right of the stems, to the left of the stems, and then on top of the base of the stems. Okay, so we have our stems and our grass done for one of the discs. This will probably be for the tulips. Next, we'll work on the daffodil ones. Tweezers. So, let's see. There's different techniques to make grass, I guess. You could also roll out a piece of fondant and use a knife to cut short strands if you didn't want to roll them out. I'm not sure how tweezers.
Well, like to pick it up.
Oh, to pick up the pieces of the grass. Yes, you can definitely do that. Another way is using a sharp tool. Like if you're using the X-Acto knife or have a fondant tool to pick it up, that can also be used to pick the piece up and place it on. I can show you how that can work with these ones.
Another question is, how much would you charge for a cupcake with the top?
How much would I charge for a cupcake with the topper? These are very time consuming unless you get it really down pat and you're really good at it and you really get the hang of it. So I would charge a minimum of $4 per cupcake with these because this is a lot of work and time. And then plus you have to put your time in that you are using to make the cupcakes and the ingredients and all of that. So adding fondant toppers to your cupcakes definitely add value to your cakes and cupcakes, which is a very good thing. So I'm making the grass for the daffodil topper. So I'm forming very small specks of green balls that we will be rolling out to form grass. We're going to use about 8 to 10 pieces of grass per topper probably. All right, so this is probably going to be enough for the daffodils. So again, I'm going to use really light pressure and roll back and forth with my pointer finger to form the blades of grass. If you're having problems doing it on your work surface, you can also use the palm of your hand. And if you notice the pieces are getting a little sticky, just use some cornstarch, but not too much because you don't want the fondant to dry out. To make the grass go faster, you can also roll out to have one long strand and cut it in half to make 2 strands of grass. Some can be longer, some can be shorter, some can also be skinnier.
Since that I knew all that time playing with Play-Doh as a childhood playground.
Yes, fondant is definitely like Play-Doh, although you can eat it and it tastes really good.
Tasteful.
This is why this is actually a really fun activity for kids to do because they can actually eat this. Okay, so I'm going to roll a larger piece of grass again and cut it into portions. I think that's a faster way. I like using the X-Acto knife or a craft blade because this allows you to have more precise cuts. Okay, so we'll attach these to this fondant disc. Again, a light amount of water, not too much because we are working with very small pieces of fondant and the water will make it get too sticky.
Fondant dries out when it's stored. Can you soften it in the microwave?
No, I do not recommend putting the fondant in the microwave. That can ruin the consistency. If you do see that your fondant is drying out a little bit, you can need a small amount of shortening, vegetable shortening on your hands and then into the fondant. But again, too much of anything will change the consistency of the product. You can find more tips like this as well on satinice.com. Okay, so we're going to attach the grass again to the sides of the stems, on top of the stems. I'm using my finger, but someone had asked before if you could use tweezers to pick these pieces up. You can, you just want to be sure that if you squeeze too hard that your fondant might get stuck to the tweezer. So what I like to do is I like to just tap the X-Acto knife onto the piece and picks it up, then drag it and place it onto the fondant topper. It should stick because it will adhere to the water. If it doesn't, you can use your finger to help stick. I really like these toppers though, because you can do so many varieties of flowers with these or use these for different parties. Like wedding showers, a birthday party, a baby shower.
And paint the fondant.
Yes, you can paint fondant. There's a lot of edible paint on the market. You can try that, or a lot of people actually create their own edible paint using food color and pure alcohol, or like a lemon extract to make the consistency for paint out of food color. Okay, so we have 2 of our discs done with stems and grass, and we're going to do our third one. This is our lavender. So these blades of grass will want to be longer to match the long stems. So again, we'll need some small little balls of green fondant. I find my fondant definitely gets stickier when I'm using smaller amounts because of the warmth of my hands. So that's why I keep a little bit of cornstarch on my work surface next to me. A little bit of cornstarch goes a long way. Okay, that should be enough. Okay, so we're going to roll these out to be long, skinny blades of grass. But not too skinny because it will be too hard for you to maneuver. You also don't want them longer than your stems. Like that piece, I definitely rolled too skinny because it was too hard to move. But that's okay, I'm gonna roll it into a ball again and try again.
How hard does it get when it gets dry? Is it easy to bite?
Yes, it's easy to bite. So fondant, if you keep it in a airtight container, the fondant won't dry so hard that it's like a brick that you can't bite into it. It's going to kind of crust on the outside, but still remain a little soft on the inside. So it doesn't hurt your teeth or anything. It's not as hard as those pearl sprinkles. So this is about the length that we want for our lavender grass. Slightly lower than the stems. So I'm just rolling these out to be skinny, long blades of grass, using some cornstarch as I need it to help if the fondant gets a little sticky. And I like when the grass kind of bends a little bit. It makes it a little bit more realistic. So I'm not going to fix it if it does bend. Oopsie, it's getting stuck in my finger. Okay, so I have enough stems for my lavender now. You're going to brush a small amount of water and attach them again on the sides of the stems and on top. And then next we're going to get into making our flowers. Okay, so we have 3 discs done now. Our lavender disc, our tulip disc, and our daffodil disc. We are going to place these to the side and begin on our flowers. First, I'm going to wipe up my work surface to get rid of any excess colors of fondant. So the first flower we're going to make are the tulips. So you'll need your red fondant. You'll just need 1 part of this as well, so a small portion. For your extra fondant inside of a bag. So just like we did with the others, we want to knead this so it's soft. So I'm going to put some cornstarch on my work surface. Once your fondant is soft and kneaded, we're going to roll this out about 1/8 of an inch thick. And then you'll want to have your plum flower cutter ready. Okay, so this is the plum flower cutter. We'll cut out 2 flowers. That's all you'll need for 1 disc. Okay, so you have 2 plum flowers, and now you're going to take your X-Acto knife and cut a teardrop shape from each of these petals. So what you're going to do is kind of do a V-shaped cut, and you're going to form teardrops from these petals. So it looks like this. Each tulip is going to have 3 of these teardrop shapes. So you're going to need a total of 9 petals of these. So just continue cutting around the flower that you cut out with your plum cutter. Hopefully I don't run out of time. If I do, I'll just start showing you guys how to make the other flowers quickly.
And if we need to go a little bit over time, that's okay. No worries.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, so I just need about 4 more petals. What I'm also doing is I'm pinching the pointy end a little bit with my finger so that it gives it a cleaner edge. Okay, so I have 9 teardrop petals total. Each tulip is going to have 3. So I'm going to separate them like that. We'll need our water. So these are going to be layered. So the first thing we're going to do is take 2 and we're going to place one on top of each other, but turn one to the left. So it kind of creates the 2 petals on a tulip. I'm going to use a really small amount of water.
Someone suggested just one flower for each side of the technique.
Okay,
If you
we could do that. Okay, so for the last petal, you're going to keep this straight upright and attach the other 2 on top of it so it kind of hangs out in the back. So it acts as the 3rd petal of the tulip.
don't have a food brush, can you do? You can use.
If you don't have a food paintbrush, you could, honestly, if you really needed water, you could probably use your finger and brush a little bit of water. You're going to have to keep drying your hand though, because you don't want the fondant to get too wet. Okay, that one's looking a little. So I am going to I'll just do one flower for each of these so that I can get all the techniques in. Okay, so this is what your tulip will look like. You'll have the 3 points at the top. There's so little, it's hard to. If you need to make them pointier, you can pinch them with your fingers too. Okay. So to attach the tulip, we'll take your water, brush a little bit on the tip of your stem, and attach the tulip, and you'll repeat those steps to get the other 2. Okay, so next I'll move on to show you guys how to make the lavender. So you'll need your white fondant and your purple fondant. Make sure your hands are clean so that you don't get excess color on the other fondant. Okay, so if you have leftover white from before when you mixed your blue and white for the discs, we will need 3 parts of the white and 1 part purple. So I'm going to mix 3 parts white fondant with 1 part purple fondant to create a light purple. And then I'm also going to cut off another part of purple that we're going to need and keep on its own. So we're going to have 2 shades of purple, a light purple and just the classic purple, which is a darker purple. So need your white fondant and your 1 part of purple fondant together to create a light purple. Okay, my lighter purple is forming and now I'll need the darker purple. For the lavender, we will be using your smallest daisy cutter, which should be about a 1/2 inch. This is what the daisy cutter looks like. You'll also need your small knife and your rolling pin. Okay, so I have both colors of purple needed. I'm going to roll out one at a time. This is the lighter purple I'm rolling out. We'll roll this about 1/8 of an inch thick. Okay, I'm going to place this to the side and then roll out my darker purple. Same thing, 1/8 of an inch thick. Okay, so now I have 2 of my purples rolled out. We'll be using the small daisy cutter and you're going to cut out a few of each color. To get a clean cut, what I like to do is rub the bottom of the cutter to get any excess fondant off. Okay, so I'm only going to make 1 of the lavender flowers so I can show you guys the daffodils as well. So now I'm cutting out some smaller daisies out of the lighter purple. Okay, so make sure you wrap up your excess fondant. And you'll take your small knife and you're going to cut each of these small daisy flowers in half. I'm only going to do a few. I'll do some of the light and some of the dark. We're going to alternate these to create the lavender effect. Okay, so I'll show you how to attach this. So you'll want your fondant disc that has the longer grasses and stems. And what you'll do is place a small amount of water at the tip of one of the stems. And you're going to place one of the half petals with the petals facing up, and you'll press down and kind of hug the stem. So whatever color you start with, you'll go ahead with the other shade. So I started with the dark purple, so I'm going to apply the next petal as the lighter purple, and we're going to just layer it on top and still hug onto the stem.
Does Michael sell these fondant colors?
Hmm?
Does Michael sell these fondant colors? I've not heard them.
Yes, Michael sells these fondant colors.
Cutters.
Oh, cutters. Sorry, I thought you said colors. These are really common cutters, so I would assume they do. They might not be called, like this one sometimes is called a blossom cutter or a plum cutter. It's just a standard flower cutter. And if you can't find these cutters, you can really use any flower cutters to create any type of flower you want for these. Okay, so I'm just layering these and then I'll show you. So you'll do this on each stem to create a full lavender, and this is what it will look like in the end. So now I'm going to move on to the daffodils quickly. So I'm going to clear my space. The daffodils, you will need white, yellow, and orange. We are going to mix the yellow and the white together to create more of a pastel yellow. Make sure your knife is clean before you cut anything so that you don't rub purple color onto your white or yellow fondant. So you'll want to need 3 parts white fondant to 1 part yellow. So I'm just kneading the yellow fondant and the white fondant together to create a pastel yellow. Okay, so now that I have my pastel yellow color, I'm going to roll it out about 1/8 of an inch thick, just like the others. And we are going to use both sizes of the daisy cutters because we're going to give it like an overlapping effect. So we'll cut one with the larger one. And one with the smaller one. And this is when you are going to use your ball tool and your little foam pad. So you can put your larger daisy on the mat and use the ball tool to press in the center. This is kind of gonna lift the petals up a little bit so they kind of form toward you. And we're going to do the same thing with the smaller one. To attach this one to the larger one, we'll use a tiny dot of water. Place the smaller one on top, press down a little bit with your finger, and then use the end of the ball tool to press in again. So to make the center of the daffodil, we will need a really tiny amount of orange. And you'll create a really, like a small ball of orange, just like the size of the specks we were making for the green grass. You want the ball of the orange to match the size of the center of your daffodil, so it's going to be really small. Let me just make sure. Okay, so I have my really small ball of orange fondant for the center of my daffodil, and I'm going to use the really tiny end of the ball tool to kind of create a little hole. And then we are going to place this in the center of our daffodil. I'm going to put the tiniest amount of water so this sticks, but not too much so that the color doesn't bleed. So you'll attach the orange little ball to the center of the daffodil. This small end of the ball tool will help give that hole in the center. And then you'll take your daffodil disc and attach it to one of the stems. And like I said, I'm only doing one of each of these flowers because of time. So to end, your discs will look like this. Your daffodil, your lavender, and your tulips.
And there was a question earlier about applying it to a cupcake.
Okay, so when you apply this to a cupcake, you will buttercream your cupcake, whether you do a small amount or a tall dollop. And then once these set and dry, so that they're not flimsy, you just place this right on top of the buttercream cupcake. I have one for reference. So you'll just put it on top like this, and it will stick to the buttercream. And that's it. Thank you guys for joining. I hope you guys had fun. And we can't wait to see what you guys have made. You can tag Michaels and Satin Ice on Instagram or Facebook, or show us here in the Zoom chat what you guys made today. Oh, I'm pasting this right now. All right, guys, so thank you for joining. Be sure to check out your local Michaels store to try your Satin Ice fondant. It was a lot of fun teaching you guys this class today. Have a good day.